Okay.
Okay, since konti lang tayo, everyone else can participate, I think.
Yay.
So are you, Rohan. Ikaw din. You're very annoying. Anyways, hi, Coconut. Welcome to our server.
Hello! Thank you for having me.
So this server is actually this casual and chill, so you could talk to us whenever, wherever you are.
Whenever, wherever, however.
However you want it to be. Or yeah, so hello Coconut, I'm very pleased to have you here. I didn't know you would be so entertaining to us, like entertaining us with inviting you like this.
Of course. I love talking to other webtoon creators. It's so fun. Like, it's such a specific community.
Oh, we got ourselves an extrovert, everyone. Yeah, I love it. Everyone here is an introvert, especially me. I'm very introverted, as you can see.
That's good.
Yeah. Anyways, so we're going to go with a conversation type of interview, so that this is very casual. So I hope you don't mind my jokes. It'll be a lot cornier. So let's start off with can you tell us about yourself, Coconut? Like anything general that you can share with us.
Okay. Just anything general?
Actually, whatever you want to share, even your personal life.
Okay, let's see. So my pen name is Coconut, but I can go by Coco because Coconut's pretty long. You should go by Coco. Not my real name. Let's see. I've been creating webtoons for like 2 years now. I'm just a writer. I'm not an artist. I cannot draw to save my life. If you held like a gun to my head and someone asked me to draw something, I'd definitely die. Just a writer. I'm Filipino American, residing in California. I think that's all I can. I'm like, this is an open-ended question. I guess I can. I don't know if you were gonna ask about this later, but just to say, me and my co-creator partner, we ended up winning 3rd place in the Call to Action contest.
Oh yeah.
So
it's something to clap about. Yeah, congratulations, Coconut.
Yeah,
I really. I just read it actually. I haven't read a lot of the comics on the CTA because I didn't know there was that kind of contest. If I know, I would win that shit. No, I'm just kidding. No. If I'd known, then I would have time to read every entry in there, But I read the top 2, and right now I read yours. I just finished it. It was amazing, girl. It's so good.
Thank you for giving it a read. That means a lot. Yeah, there were a lot of good entries. There were 3,000 entries in total. So.
And you got third. That's amazing.
I would have. Yeah, I was gonna say I would have gotten 4th place if you had entered Ren, because you're saying you would have won. So I think the gods blessed me. They're like, oh, Ren doesn't know about the contest. That's why I got 3rd.
Thank you for acknowledging that. Just kidding. Just kidding. So how did you come up with that concept? That's very amazing. Like, that's very unique for me. It's so unique, and it's very modern.
I'm gonna sound like a sellout, but when we were coming up with the contest, like what we were gonna do for it. Well, first of all, since I'm just a writer, I threw a lot of ideas at Midoryka. That's like my co-creator, partner, artist. So she is the artist. So I threw a lot of ideas. Like I asked her what she wants to work with because she's gonna be drawing it. I threw a bunch of concepts, and one of them was just magical girl mixed with digital, like story, sci-fi.
That's one. I really love that. The transformation. It's so Sailor Moon-y, kind of. It's amazing.
Yeah. So we were like So I tried to choose concepts that I thought would be popular. and one of them was Magical Girl, just because I know like nostalgia is really popular right now, and synthwave and pastel aesthetic is really popular. So we kind of blended like all of those like aspects into a webtoon, and that's what the idea came from, basically. But yeah, and then like also, I know that like I wanted to make a webtoon that's really really relatable and marketable, because I was like, if we have any chance of winning, I know they need something that's marketable, because like it's gonna be an original. So that's what I was basing off like the concepts off of. So like Magical Girl is really popular right now. Like video games, the webtoon freaking loves their video games. Like they have so many video game webtoons. So
I relate with Rohan right now. He chatted right now. He said, "I'm actually floored with the Magical Girl game system concept. It's so unique. Yeah, it's so unique. The same way that I think like it's hard to market Magical Girls, because I feel like it's very childish in some of the audiences. And it's hard to like engage people into taking it seriously. And you executed that. It's so awesome. You were able to execute that, and it's very unique. Yeah, I get that. It's very unique.
I think. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to ask if you were working with Midoryka before.
Oh, so we were working together before on another webtoon. It was Crimson Contract. That was our Canvas webtoon that Midoryka had like. So Midoryka and I, for context, we don't know each other in real life. We only know each other through like,
oh really?
Yeah.
Were you able to talk like this, talk and call?
No, actually, I think we've only done a voice chat one time, but that was because we had to meet with our editor. So that was like the only time, and then she didn't even talk much. But yeah, we don't. What was that?
Both of you are in US. Oh, in the US.
Yeah, she's in another country. I won't disclose because I don't know if she wants people to know, but she's in a different country than I am. So yeah, so we don't know each other in real life, and we don't talk on the phone. Our working relationship works really well, regardless. Like we work really well together, even having not ever met or not even having talked on like the phone. So,
are you in a personal context? Like, are you like friends or are you just workmates?
That's an interesting question. I would say that we're friends, but like a lot of what we talk about is webtoons. Like we don't really talk to each other about personal stuff. I think it's just because we're both like it's not like we don't want to, or like I think we're just both really professional. And if either of us wanted to talk about something personal, no doubt we'd be like, yeah, talk about it. But we're both like really professional about it. I don't know. It's hard to explain.
I get you. I definitely get you. Sometimes when we talk about one topic, we are very into it that we forget about personal life.
Yeah,
especially when it's about stories, because you want to talk about the stories, the content of the stories, the flow of the stories, or the webcomic that you really want. It's like you forget everything else. You just dive into the story that you actually attracts you, right? Yeah,
that's true. I think because we're both so interested in webtoon and like webtoon news that like that's really all we talk about. But like, I don't know. We're both really friendly with each other. Like if we wanted to talk about personal stuff, we do. But neither of us really breach the subject just because I don't know, professionalism. But again, I would say we're close though for webtoon partners.
She would be attracted to join us here. This server.
I don't think she's not Filipino, so I think first of all that would be probably not.
We have other nationalities here too. We have one artist here from Indonesia,
nice.
some from Singapore, I think. But they're not really that active here. But when it comes to podcasts or arts or webcomic, think you can talk to them. Of course, in a language that we all know, we all understand. And then we share, just so that I can tour you in the server, we share art materials or references here. Also, you can see the recruit links. We also share that to our fellows. And then we just brag about our art. We welcome bragging here. Yeah, we definitely welcome bragging here. We welcome compliments and critics. And then we just burn each other in the server.
That's a really good art. I browsed the art, like I don't know what channel it's called, but yeah, where you guys post your art. You guys are really talented. Good job. Everyone here is so cool.
Thank you.
You guys are better than me.
Well, art is not just visual. It can also be in writing. We have a lot of art writers here as well too. Some of them we already guests in one of our podcasts, but they're in Tagalog, so I'm not sure if you would be able to understand all of them. But I encourage you to hear them out.
I listened to the one where Rohan was the guest. I listened to like the first. I think
It's so boring,
hour.
right?
No, it wasn't boring. I had to go back to work, so I couldn't finish. I'll go back and finish it. But yeah, I understand most of it. I understand Tagalog pretty well. It's slang I don't get, and then it's like sometimes the people talk too fast.
Uh-huh.
So I just like tell people I can understand it, but I'm pretty stupid, so don't try, maybe.
I really enjoyed your stories last time about traveling here and then conversing in convenience stores. I think that's your story.
Yeah.
Right?
It's so sad because I'm like, my first language was Tagalog actually when I was growing up in the States. I was born and raised in the States, but my parents wanted me to know Tagalog. So I actually didn't know any English going into elementary school. Like they had to give me a little book, and like when I was in the playgrounds, I would be yelling at kids in Tagalog because I was like, I didn't know they didn't know Tagalog. They were speaking English. I would yell like, "Bata, bata, init pa yung slide?" And they would just like look at me. They didn't know what I'm saying. And so
That's so funny.
yeah, so I knew Tagalog pretty well. I obviously lost it, like the speaking ability, when I went to school because, like, you know, I don't practice it anymore. And then, but I constantly am able to understand it because my parents always talk to me in it. And then when I got to the Philippines, I'm like, I was like 17, I think. No, 19. Or 20 or something. I don't know how old I was when I got to the Philippines, but I was like, I still know Tagalog. I'll be fine. And I like walked to the store, and then they're like, because they're saying like certain words, either they're talking really quietly and very fast, and then they're using like technical terms. I don't know if it's like sales terms or whatever to speak to me, and I'm like, there was so many times where I'm like, I'm sorry, could you repeat it? Could you repeat it? Could you repeat? And then eventually I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna tell people I don't speak Tagalog when it comes to store people. Like I just give up. I felt so bad.
It's okay. They would understand that. Like people here understand English. Although not all of us can speak that straight English because, you know, but we do understand it in context. So we kind of just deliver whatever can be understood by the other person talking in English. And yeah, it's amazing to hear you talk Tagalog, as Rohan says. So what are the Tagalog words you usually or most of the time you use?
That I use? I usually go
Do you
like,
curse?
no, I don't actually. I mean, I don't curse in Tagalog.
Even in English, you don't curse?
I do only with like close, like only with like my fiance. I don't curse with like to everybody. I don't know.
You're so kind. I thought I was the kindest here, but
I'm
yeah.
not kind. I just grew up with like really strict Christian parents.
I see.
That's why I don't curse. But yeah, I don't curse in Tagalog. I usually go like, what? Like, how do you say ow? Aray? Or like kate? Like I don't know.
It hurts.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really speak Tagalog much, but I can understand it.
Tinatanong ko lang kung nagmamaro si Hindi ko sinabi magbaro siya. Anyways. Oh, you have a fiancé. So how old are you? Is that okay to ask?
Yeah, that's okay to ask. I am 20. Sorry, I'm like, wait, am I 26 or 27? I'm in my later 20s.
Oh, Z, forgetting behind. So there are
really lost track of
a lot of people actually are the same age here.
Yeah.
So I am 26. I just turned 26 last September. And
wow. You have to call me Ate then.
Oh, I guess you're about 28, maybe.
I mean, yeah, I'm 27.
You're 27. Oh, you're the same age as Rohan.
Yeah.
I'm glad you're not the same evil as Rohan. Do you know his title here? His title is the root of all evil, because he's the most evilest person here in the server.
That's so funny, because like Rohan's so nice to me, and I'm like going through the chat, and I'm like, because I'm like everyone's like being either mean to Rohan or like they're Rohan's being mean back, and I'm like, what's the side of Rohan? It's so mysterious because I only see the nice side.
He's very evil and fake. No, I'm just kidding. Everyone here gets along pretty well, so we kind of jab each other in different ways. Oh yeah, he said this is your podcast, so we should not argue. Anyways, so talk about your comics, or talk about the story that your comic will follow from here on out, because I've read the first chapter. So how do you plan to advance the story? What can we expect in the story? Is that okay to share?
No, that's what I ask. Yeah, I'll try to be vague, because like we can't really
vague. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, but like it's kind of crazy because so when we were developing Code Grace, it was really loose because I was like, oh, I don't know. I basically developed it like a pitch. So like some stuff was not set in stone yet. I kind of threw stuff in there that I'm like, I don't know if we're gonna touch on this later, or like if it gets picked up, I don't know if that stuff is gonna be still in the like actual webtoon. Like the drop system, like I don't know if you see at the end, like you get this little like wings. I was like, I'm not sure if I'm gonna incorporate that in the story. We'll see if I end up incorporating it. But so like the story is basically still gonna be the same for the most part. It's just a girl who has like high level anxiety, who ends up finding out that she can kind of access this thing called the sandbox, where like glitches appear. Like, so in this world there are glitches that appear that are basically like natural anomalies, like for example like overgrowth of like plants, or like aggressive crows was the one that we had. But basically so basically she can like access this behind the scenes sort of mirror dimension where she can fight these glitches. And then she kind of has that, like you saw, the magical girl transformation, and she has like powers in there. She has like stronger abilities than like a normal, like being able to fight and stuff. And then she has her staff, it's a hexahedron staff based off her like what's it called? Her Rubik's cube that she used to calm herself when she was a kid. And that's basically gonna be the whole story. Yeah, I don't know if I can
see. So that's something that relates. The staff is something that relates to her childhood. I didn't see that in the story. So that's what inspires you. Why does she have a staff? What is it for?
To be fair, so the staff is so when I was developing the concept, I had to study a bunch of action webtoons. Because I'm not really into action too much. I usually like comedies or rom-coms. So I was like, oh shoot, we're entering an action contest. I have to really study action. So when I was studying action, a lot of the heroes were just OP. Like I learned like shonen, like webtoons, like all the characters freaking OP. So I was like, okay, I gotta make my character somewhat OP, so I kind of gave her that staff, but you have to give her a what's it called? You can't just make her totally OP. You have to give her like a crutch or something that doesn't make sure she's not always powerful. So I don't know what I was trying to say with it, but so yeah, her staff is what gives her OP powers basically. But
I feel like there would be a lot of character development changes in her, because there's a backstory in there, and that backstory is something that I want to know about. What is it about her losing a memory in that? There's a scenario in that, right, that says that she can't remember something.
Yeah, like her memories are sort of fractured, so that's the part that makes it hard for her to like be able to conjure her staff, because the stuff that you like use in the sandbox, like her Rubik's Cube or the other characters watch, it has to be connected to personal feelings or personal memories with the physical item. So
guys, you have to read it on your own. I'm spoiling you all, I know, because I'm very excited with the comic that I saw. It's very unique in the story, and the art is awesome. Like, Midoryka did a great job. It's so amazing.
She's super amazing. But yeah, to be fair, like, it's what's in the actual call to action, like some stuff is gonna change when it moves over to original, because now I have to actually iron out those plot points, because before it was kind of just like a concept. so some things might be different.
It pushed you to join a call to action when it's not really your forte, as you said.
Oh, that's a good question. So it came out like the call to action came out, and I saw it, and I saw that the top 3 were like, what's it called, originals deals. So I was like, I kind of my dream ever since I started creating Webtoon, for specifically Webtoon, I always wanted to be an original creator. So I'm like, oh, okay, maybe this is my shot to be original. And that's when I reached out to Midoryka and said, hey, like, no pressure. You can totally, like, I was like, would you be interested in joining with me? Because Midoryka and I, coincidentally, like, our Crimson Contract webtoon, it had some action in it. And I know Midoryka does watch, I think, some, like, action animes or action mangas. So like I was like, I know she has some knowledge of action, so I asked her like if she'd be interested in joining, and we discussed it a little bit, and she eventually said like, yeah, let's join. So it was me who was like, oh, let's join, and it was me just really going for the originals deal. To be honest, like I didn't think we would win. Like I was like, let's shot in the dark, we'll see if we win or not. And like we ended up winning, and then like
good.
But at the end, like once we won, I'm like, oh shoot, I won an action contest. Me, who does not like read or watch action, I'm like, I just shot myself in the foot. But I mean, I always like taking on challenges, so it's fine.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's like it's your handicap. It's not your expertise, but you were able to win out of the 3,000 entries.
I don't know. It feels unreal. I'm like, good job, me. I did not think ahead. I'm an idiot, truly.
Well, you know, when it's yours, it's yours. And you both put on great effort in it. I can see that. I can read it, and I can see that visually in the comics that you were able to produce.
Yeah, it was a real crazy experience. Like, I've learned the most about making webtoon through entering the call to action. I've never, in my whole like 2 years of like webtoon, that was when I learned the most about webtoon. Because like,
your first time,
huh?
This is not your first time into entering a contest like this?
It was for webtoon. Yeah, it was my first time entering a contest. Yeah,
the first time, and you won. That's so good.
Again, it doesn't feel real.
Yeah, it doesn't. Yeah, I mean, that is so amazing. I'm talking to someone who won.
You got the wrong time.
It's like I'm talking to a superstar right now, like a black horse.
You're a superstar to me. Don't listen to Ren.
I'm putting you into a pedestal, you know. When you create your characters, do you have like a say on their physical appearance, or on how you want them to look?
Usually with I've worked with multiple artists, and I do the same for all of them. I did the same thing for Midoryka, which is like I just give them kind of a trope and a character description, and if they need it, I give concepts. But for the most part, I just give them a description, and then I want to see how the artist interprets it. So, like Grace is like someone with high anxiety, more introverted. She's a coder, so she obviously is more like on the technical. Like she likes technical stuff. Is probably more of a stay-at-home person. So I was like, how do you interpret this character? And you can like draw what you think she would look like. So that's what I do usually.
So most of the time you give description and then the interpretation goes to the artist.
Yeah, because I mean they're gonna be the one drawing it. I give references if they need it.
That's good.
Or like if I have a more clear vision.
I think that's a good method because that gives freedom to the artist, and then that tickles their imagination into creating one.
Yeah, exactly.
Because most of the time, like when you work with stories, like some of us here work with some stories, and they like require very detailed, specific kind of look of art, and that makes it difficult for the artist because they can't expand the image of that character into their own interpretation because they wanna, they want it to the T. Like it's so difficult.
Yeah, and plus I like to see how people interpret my descriptions. So, because maybe what I'm picturing is different than what other people picture, and also like the artist, like I want them to have a personal connection to the character too. So I would like, for them to have it in their own vision too.
Reaction when you saw the characters?
Oh, with Midoryka specifically, when I saw the character designs, I think I literally typed out like perfect in all caps. Because I was like, oh my gosh, that's perfect. I'm always stunned by whatever Midoryka does. She's amazing.
She got it on first try. like you both did on the CTA. You joined first time and you won. So Ron asked, what happened when you received the news that you won? What were your and Midoryka's reactions?
Me and Rohan talked about this briefly over like Twitter, I think. So what happened? So Midoryka and I are in very different time zones. So like I think usually her daytime is my nighttime. So I woke, and it was weird because the day before, we were talking about how like most likely they're gonna reach out to the winners right now because they need to get a contract in place before they announce. So like they'll probably get in touch with the winners now. And then we're both like, do you think we have a shot? And then both of us were like, I don't know. Like we were both like, it's 50-50. Like my head is like ping-ponging back and forth. Like, I think we have a chance, but no, I don't think we do. I don't know. Maybe we are. I don't know. Like, if we won, maybe we only got like 10th place. Who knows? So that was like our discussion beforehand. And then I think at 3 a.m. my time, so I'm asleep. I woke up to a text from Midoryka saying like, oh, hey, like, are you up? I have some news. And that was at 3 a.m. and now it's 8 a.m. So it was like 5 hours later. I'm like, oh shoot, Midoryka had something to say. I thought it was about something else. And so I was like, hey, what's up? And that's when she told me the news. And like the night before I got like 4 hours of sleep. Yeah. So like the night before I got like 4 hours of sleep because I wasn't I don't know. I have a pretty bad sleep problem. I don't sleep very much. I have really bad sleep patterns. So I had like 4 hours of sleep. So I had like heavy like eye bags, and like I had like that weird headache you get when you don't get enough sleep.
Yeah.
And so it just felt like I was walking on a cloud. I was like, this can't be real. And like the first thing I did was like, I think I just got up and walked to my backyard, and then I just called my fiance like, hey, like I got the news that we won. And it was just, I don't know, throughout the whole day I just was like smiling and laughing randomly like a crazy person. I'm sure I looked like
it's so relatable. Yeah, it's very relatable. You know what? Like it's so funny because you reflect the same image, both of Rohan and Jay.
Yeah, that's it.
What they were doing in the server, they were like asking each other, "What do you think? Will we win? Are we part of the? Because they're part of the top um, the top picks currently in the run on the CTA. Rohan and Jay is the creator of Limitless. For those who don't know, they won. What place are you on? Sixth, I think. Yeah. So they won the sixth place, and they're like, before the announcement, they were like, "Did we win? Will we like expect anything or something?" And it's so funny to see them like like very nervous about the results.
When I listened to the podcast, I reached out to, like, I talked to Rohan about it. I was like, dude, my experience was the exact same. It's crazy. Same experience.
It's a reflection, no. It's like a mirror. I'm like listening to the same thing all over again. It's so exciting. Like, it encourages a lot of artists to join because it's different when you win and you feel like you've created something that is different from others.
Super. Like, even if you didn't win, like, you should be super, like, whoever joined should be super proud of themselves that you tried. Like, it's not an easy feat making like, oh my gosh, the panel limit or the size limit for the action contest. If you were able to make if you were able to make an entry alone with those amount of panels and be able to push something out that you were proud of, good on you, because that panel size limit was brutal. It was horrible. So if you were able to do that, good for you, you know.
So limited. Like when they told me how many panels or pages they had before submitting, it's like it's a big difference, like from 90 to 20, I think. And then they were able to you were all able to execute something effective, like people would be engaged in the story that you share.
Yeah, exactly. You were able to create an action.
Just doing that, just doing that is something to be proud of, because that's not very easy. Like sharing a story for short words, like using short words and then visuals. And then I laughed at another test. But I won't share it here because this is a live YouTube. But yeah, I think you know who it is. But yeah, it's so funny because never mind. I won't disclose that. So another question from Mohan. What extra stuff did you do to win the CTA con?
What extra stuff? So it was a lot of research. And I think top 3 or maybe top 10 winners kind of all, maybe I'm just speculating, but I feel like we all kind of did the same thing. When I was reading the comments on like the announcement winners, a lot of people were saying like, oh, Webtoon just chose the same art style, or like Webtoon.
Yeah,
like,
I saw that.
Yeah, like they all thought, that. Like, yeah, I mean, and then I think, to be honest, like, but that's what I was going for. Like, it might sound like a sellout, or it might sound like, not true to ourselves or whatever, but like, we went for a very specific like Webtoon style that they would like. And we also went for what's that one really popular manga? It's like the most popular manga. I almost said, is it Limitless? But no, that's Rohan.
Is that a manga or a webtoon?
No, it's a manga.
Not a lot of manga out there.
Hold on, I'm researching it right now. No, it's an action one. Oh my gosh, whatever. I can't think of it right now.
I think we have the same thought on that, because a lot of people mistake this competition as something that shows like very different kind of tone, but what you actually want to do is relate it to what the judges would want to see. Like, is it a webtoon, the tone of a webtoon, how webtoons are created, or how stories are being shared in a webtoon. And then a lot of people think that they have to be so different so that they can, they can win. But the thing is, if you don't relate it to a webtoon, or like for example, your art is like a DC comics, then it's already not a webtoon. It's a Western comic already. It's a different category, right? And
exactly.
And it's a complaint I see a lot on Facebook, on other forums, they say that the same thing that you said, that they keep comparing the webtoons, like it's the same. Of course, it'll be the same. It's a webcomic, right? It's webtoon. But and they're trying to find an action with a good execution in the story, and then the movements, the flow. That's what you want to see. If I was the judge, if I were one of the judge, that's one of the things that I would want to see besides the art, because the art can be, the art can be pretty good for solitary or no movement kind of scene. But when it comes to action, you have to be effective.
Yeah, so that's what we did. We researched popular mangas and webtoon, and sort of like, we built our idea on that, and we built it on popular stuff, and then we also put our own heart and soul in it. So like, it's not totally just like, a like complete just like rip off of other stuff. No, we put our own spin on it. But that's what we like, what you have to do to like enter a contest is research what you think would win and make it. So that's what we did.
You need to do research because you need to know your audience, right? You need to know the judges, what they would want to see, of course, and then how much your story relates to the theme of the contest, and then how many audiences would be engaged in that story that you will be making, and how you can expand the story. I think that's what's important. And a lot of the stories there, I think, fail in thinking about what would happen next after this chapter 1 that they will be submitting. And I think that's one of the criteria that the judges would want to see, how they will be able to market the story that would win, right? So after winning, like, what's your next move? Like, are you looking for artists? You're actually recruiting, right?
Yeah, we're recruiting assistants right now. So we put out a bunch of we got like 300 applicants, by the way.
You posted on Facebook. You posted on Facebook.
Yes, I posted it on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter, and Reddit. And I'm like, man, it's insane how many people applied. I should probably close the application soon, but I feel bad for anyone who might have wanted to still apply.
CTA is a big thing, and you would know it because you just won, and now you have 300 applicants under your
just
for review.
So I guess producing the webtoon, because sorry, you asked like what's next. So like, we're actually gonna start making it. Start making the chapters and stuff.
Will we be seeing the chapters in the coming months?
No, so it's gonna be a pretty long time before the webtoon or Code Grace launches. It's gonna be launching in 2023, and the most I can say is probably like middle of the year 2023, maybe even a little later than that.
That's
because
exciting.
Thank you. Webtoon has like I don't think this is a secret, but like they have like pre-production stages, and then you also have to build a huge thing of buffers before you can release. So that's what we're gonna do first, which takes time.
It takes time, and you're going to be developing the story from here on out.
Yeah.
And some of us here in the server applied.
I saw.
Yeah,
I marked you guys. Like, because I have like a huge spreadsheet of everyone, and I marked like, oh, I know this person. No guarantees yet though, because there are so many applicants.
There's so many applicants in the server. One of the people, some of the people here are reacting, saying they applied. I applied. What influenced you in making a podcast? I don't know. I mean a webcomic.
I'm gonna host this podcast. Yeah, it's my podcast.
Soon. Yeah, I know. You know what? Anyone here can host this podcast. It's not just me. We encourage everyone here to participate, to be the guest of the podcast. So we're not really leaning onto just choosing people. Anyone can podcast in there. If you want to host a podcast, just say so. If you want to just talk to people and then put it live on YouTube, you can do so. We just want to talk.
Yeah, that's good. You're already doing such a good job, Ren. So.
Oh, thank you. Ron saying that I'm cutting you off too much. He just messaged me like a direct message. Hey, I have a suggestion. Avoid cutting her off when she's talking. Give her time to finish, he says.
Ren just fully outing Rohan here.
Yeah, I'm burning him. Because he's doing something to me.
Now he's gonna think twice about messaging you directly.
Yeah, I know. So, yeah, what influenced you into making webcomic? Or were you making stories before, even before you discovered webcomic or manga?
Yeah, I mean, I've always. So I guess. Okay, so I had a childhood where I was really lonely. I had anxiety, as you'll probably see, like in Code Grace later on. Like the experiences of anxiety, a lot of those are going to be pulled directly from like my issues with anxiety. So I was that weird little kid that like couldn't talk to anyone, and so like I just read manga. Like seriously, I don't know if you guys remember Manga Fox. Is it still up or whatever? All those manga pirate sites. I was freaking. I know. I'm really adding my age. I mean, I already said my age, but yeah.
Relatable.
Yes, I would like, what's it called? I would filter mangas like by genre and then just read in alphabetical order. I think I like filtered shoujo, romance, and comedy, and I got to T. Like I got to letter T in alphabetical order. I'm pretty sure I got to T.
Oh, you read all of that?
I almost read. Yeah, I almost read a lot, not all of them, but I read a lot of manga growing up. So, cause like I was like a lonely, depressed kid. I didn't know it, but I probably had depression at the time. And so like at the time I was really, really miserable. And so the only things that made me feel happy were like manga, escapism and all that.
Same.
Yeah, and I think everyone relates to that, right? It's like escapism into manga. So obviously I grew up, I got a little bit over my anxiety, just a little bit. And then I ended up going to college and making more friends and like, okay, being able to socialize more. But throughout all this, I couldn't like let go of manga. Like I eventually discovered Webtoon in college because it was easier to read because, you just have your phone. And I couldn't let go of like manga and Webtoon. Like they really helped me throughout like I wouldn't be alive today, I think, if I didn't have those manga and Webtoon to read. Because, like, I don't know, my life was, I don't know, I was not happy.
Yeah.
So, sorry, what was that? I couldn't, it like cut off for a second.
Yeah, life is boring. Don't cry.
Yeah. So, I, like, because so I couldn't let go of like the idea of manga and Webtoon, and so I wanted to start creating like manga and Webtoon. So like I think it was like after I got a job and the pandemic hit, I was like, this would be a good time to try to make comics and manga, or try to make Webtoons, because I wanted to make stories for kids like me. Like if I can make just one kid like feel less lonely with my story, then like that's all I want to do. Really.
That's very noble.
Thank you.
I love that too. Yeah. I relate to that because when I was a child, like I have 3 brothers. So all of them relate to each other because they're boys. And boys have talk to each other like things that they can't talk to their baby girl sister. Yeah, and then growing up is kind of lonely for my part, but then I discovered manga. Actually, when webcomic entered the scene, I'm kind of biased against it because I'm so used to reading mangas that I didn't really like the idea of reading webcomics. And then I'm like, what's this? This is not the same thing I've been reading before. Like, and then different webcomic came out, like it got better and better. And one of the comic that influenced me into reading webtoon is Noblesse. Do you know Noblesse?
Oh, Noblesse. Yeah, I haven't read it, but I know of it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so good. Like, it's so pretty. The characters are so pretty. Like, and then you will see the development of the art as it goes on with the chapter. And then after that, like, everything is welcome. Like, the biasness is gone, and then all the stories became very broad, and then enters the scene of different genres, introducing, entering the scene of the webcomic, like NSFW genres or action genres, love story, romance, shoujo, and all those things. It became wide, like the spectrum of webcomic became wider than what I've known before when it first came in. It came in when I was like a teenager, I think, and the art style of those is like very different from mangas. It's like hard to accept. Oh my god, people read this.
Yeah, if you've been reading the same type and then all of a sudden it's different.
Yeah, all of a sudden
I
it
took
became amazing, and then there were a lot of ideas, and then you can enter it. That world is open for everyone, right?
Yeah, low barrier to entry. That's really attractive to a lot of creators, which is great that you can do that. Can't do that with manga.
Also, it encourages writers and artists to collaborate, and that's what's missing with the manga before.
Yeah.
Like right now, they are adapting the same thing as a webcomic. But before, like they have same artist, same writer kind of thing.
Yeah, one man job.
Yeah, one man job, and then the art is great. It's consistent and it's amazing to read, but there's very little changes in some of the stories, or it's like there's a lot of ideas out there, and webcomic just touched that limitations that manga have before, and then it influenced manga at the same time, right?
Yeah.
And I see a lot of Japanese artists too touching webcomic, and it's great. Like you can see the art of Japanese manga being translated as a webcomic, and it's a great combination.
Yeah, it is.
So I think I've been talking a lot, so I'm sorry about that. It's just yeah, I've been geeking out on this. Well, we're talking about. This is not just me, Ron. I'm talking about webcomic and manga.
Yeah, it's webcomics in general. That's what
so this is
podcast is about.
Yeah. And it's like, he wasn't able to host, so yeah. I'm just roasting it. Never mind. Let's move on. Sorry, Coconut. I've been really talkative right now, but I'm really excited because I've been able to talk to someone who, other than the Limitless comics, I didn't think that I would be able to talk to someone else that won in the CTA, and it's amazing. And a lot of people are asking, how do you work with your artists? Like, how are you able to develop the stories before you think about the artist that you're going to collaborate with?
Ooh, well, so for Mido, she's actually the one who reached out to me. When we started our first comic, Crimson Contract, she reached out to me, which was kind of crazy because I was actually like, I was gonna quit Webtoon, kind of low key. I was developing stories, but it was more like a back burner, because I couldn't find artists that were willing to like stick around. Like, and no hard feelings. Like the artists that I worked with, I'm still friends with all of them. Like they just kind of prioritized going back to their own work, or they couldn't commit to like a weekly schedule. Which, like, if you know anything about Webtoon, you need to do a weekly thing in order to get your Webtoon into the algorithm. And if you don't get your Webtoon into the algorithm, no one's gonna see it. So I was like, so I just couldn't find an artist to sort of stick around. And again, that's totally okay. So I was like, that's okay. I'll just give up and maybe later down the line I'll find someone who can draw and is on the same page as me and wants to like develop a story together, whatever. And I was gonna quit. And then Mido randomly, even though I had been dead like on Instagram, like I hadn't posted or even put anything on my story for a month. And Midoryka still like reached out to me and asked if I wanted to collaborate with her on Crimson Contract as a writer. And I was like, this is so random that like she had like 20,000 subs or something on her canvas, on her previous webtoon canvas. And she reached out to me for, I don't know, I think she had read one of my other comics and was a fan, even though that comic maybe had like 1,000 subs. I don't even know how she found me. But yeah, she took a chance, I guess, and asked me to be a writer, and that's when we started collabing on that. And then we ended up joining CTA together randomly, and then that's how we ended up being like permanent partners. But in terms of finding an artist or like working with an artist, I kind of just, in other past projects, I just look at their art style and I kind of ask them what genres are they into, what kind of characters do they like to like draw, and then I develop a story with them. Or I throw them a loose concept and like, but we can build characters together, we can build a story together. That's how I work with artists. If anyone wants to work with me, just let me know.
I would want to work with you. I would want to work with you, and a lot of people here would want to work with you, of course. Except Rohan, because he wouldn't be able to draw for you.
I wanna partner with Rohan for real, because his writing style, he amazes me.
Yeah, actually, you have to compliment them with the writing, even though his art is really not that great. But I encourage him to actually try to do art before, and I don't know what's happening with him. But he is really good at writing. I really love the story of Limitless, right? It's so good. Like the surprise factor of it, I think, gives it a great boost in reading something like that. It's the thing that you will be looking for when you're reading a webcomic, and that's what I saw in both of your works. It's so good because you've introduced new concepts and then you've added to it the actions that, like, surprises people.
Yeah, I know. He was very good at that. Yeah, Limitless. I read Limitless before I knew Rohan, and I read it before the contest even was announced. Because I would just randomly browse webtoons, and I think, or the call to action entries, and I just happened to see Limitless, and I read it, and I was like, this is probably gonna win. Like, it's so good. It's crazy. Like, the setup and the characters, it was amazing. And I was like, dang, this could be a series. And I remembered Limitless because I had read it pretty early on. I don't remember when you posted it, Rohan, but it was, I think, pretty early on in the competition. And I never forgot your entry. I read a lot of entries and I probably forgot a lot of them. But Rohan's, I never forgot. Limitless. I even remembered the title too. And when I saw him win, I was like, oh, that's cool. And then I don't remember how we first talked. I don't know who messaged who. I don't remember, but we congratulated each other, and I was like, oh.
Where did you reach out to? Like, where did you talk first? On Twitter?
Maybe? Crap, Rohan, where did we talk? I don't remember.
Oh, Twitter, yeah. So you were able to talk on Twitter.
Yeah, I think we talked, we messaged on like the same thread about something. I think someone had analyzed our webtoons or something. Yeah, we congratulated each other on Twitter.
So, like this platform actually encourages people or artists to talk to each other or be able to reach out to each other. It makes the world smaller, and then it's amazing. Yeah,
right? Small world. The Filipino Discord full of Filipino webtoon creators. Crazy.
Yeah. Filipino useless. No. Just kidding. I'm the only one here who's useless. Just kidding.
No, it's not.
So you haven't. So you have other work before you were able to write something. Right?
Yeah.
So you're in another profession.
Yeah, I'm not a full-time webtoon creator. I do like I have an office desk job. So
Nice.
yeah, because before I started with Midoryka, and we partnered, but before I used to pay artists to draw webtoons, but then I could never get them to kind of commit to like staying on full time. But yeah, that's why I was like, I'm gonna give up because I feel like I'm just wasting money.
So
um,
you're paying your artist. You're not just collaborating like you talk
no,
of.
because I don't. Yeah, I don't believe in like full collaboration where you don't pay the artist because the
I think I
artist
want to
like
work with you. I think I want to work with you.
right now, yeah. I don't believe in I don't believe in like full like collaboration. But right now I probably could only do a full collaboration because now I actually have to pay rent. So I'm like I don't have the money to spare right now. But if anyone wants to work with me just with collaboration.
We do
No,
have
I'm just begging.
collaboration here. Like, were you able to scroll through the server channels? We have collaborations here, like short collaborations that you would want to join in, or contests
Oh.
on some platforms like Voice Me, Webtoon. There are short contests they share on their server, and we share it here on the server as well.
Okay, yeah, I scrolled through some, but I don't know if I scrolled through the channel you're talking about.
Yeah.
If anyone...
We also, as I said, we also give critics or writing critic, and we ask suggestions. We encourage suggestions and collaboration.
That's super good. You guys are so on top of it. You're running a really good webtoon community. Even though I see a lot of memes. No, I'm just kidding.
Very enthusiastic, I think. So let's ask the audience if they have any questions for you. So people, do you want to talk? Is anyone there who want to talk? Or
what's interested me? It's okay.
Or do you want to chat it out? I think they want to type it out, the questions they have for you.
Someone's typing, or two people are typing something.
Do you have any talents? Like, can you dance or something?
Can I dance? No.
Like,
My only talent is writing, and I don't even think I'm that good at writing, so I don't know what that says.
Yeah. So there are other questions, I think. Yeah. It's all Rohan. So another question from Rohan is, what genre do you prefer the most, reading and the most writing?
Oh, that's a good one. Wow, Rohan. I think I like writing. I think it's the same. I really do like writing rom-com, and I think reading, I also like rom-com, but I read a lot though. So I do read action, I do read fantasy, I read a bunch of stuff.
I'm really towards you right now. Another question from him is, what would have been your next step if you didn't win the CTA contest?
Oh, that's another good one. Dang, what the heck, Rohan?
He's really twisted.
I think so if we didn't win, I think our unofficial plan was we were just gonna go back to Crimson Contract, and because Crimson Contract is supposed to be a short-ish series anyway, so we were gonna finish that up, and then maybe we would have gone on to make Code Grace anyway, because I think both me and Midoryka had fell in love with the concept and the characters. So we were like, let's finish up Crimson Contract, and if we still want to do Code Grace, then let's do it. If not, then we can work on something else, or we can part ways in case we had other stuff we wanted to work with, or other people we wanted to work with. So and if she said like, oh, if Crimson Contract ended, I think I probably would have tried to find another artist and tried to work on another webtoon, in case Midoryka wanted to work on her own or work with someone else, just because, like, I don't know, making webtoons is so fun. I had forgotten how fun webtoon making is, but it's so fun.
Because there's a lot of possibilities, no?
Yeah, a lot of possibilities. So many
stories
you can make. Yeah, so many people you can reach, so many stories you can make, so many friends, so many artists you can work with.
of those people are introverted and they can express themselves through their art, and I really love that kind of thinking. Another question from Strawberry. So, how did you come up with your art style for Midorika, I think, on your CTA comic? But do you have any say on the art style of your comic?
So, when we were coming up with the art style, because one of the things that me and Midoryka had talked about was like, if we won, we're gonna have to make 50 panels every week, which is gonna be insane.
Yeah.
If you choose like a really complex art style, we're screwed. So I was telling her, like, we were both discussing, if we make a webtoon, let's not make the webtoon complex, but let's focus on lighting and coloring to make it stand out. Because if you notice, like, Code Grace, it's not that different than other webtoons. Like, it has a pretty simple, like, line art style. The complex, like, the character designs, the creature designs, they're not crazy. But what we try to do is put in a lot of effects and a lot of lighting choices that make it really pop. And so that's what the kind of art style we're going for. A simple one, but really put in effects and coloring to make it pop. So that's the art. That's the only thing I can say about the art style. Midorika is probably the one who can answer that more.
Actually, that's a great tip. Like, some of us here stresses over details. Like me, for example, I really stress over details. But I think that you're on the right track, because that will make things faster. Like, the production would be much easier, and then it will not overpower the story that you're coming up with.
Yeah, if you go to like the webtoons that are popular right now, the action ones on Webtoon, you'll notice that a lot of their art styles aren't really complex. It's just effects. So if you can master effects, you can get a good webtoon going anyway. So I'm just encouraging artists out there, download brushes and use art lighting effects. I think
God is coming to my head because of what you said, because remembering the art of Tower of God is not that really complex. The monsters there are really just scribbles, and then they just applied effects on that. But it works.
Even stuff like Omniscient Reader. Omniscient Reader is a great comic. Very simple art style. They just got brushes and stuff. That's it.
They really focus on the effect and the story that that is not lost in the detail, I think. And oh yeah. So Ron is right. Would you like to talk about more about your other webcomics or webtoons? Like the Crimson Contract. I think I'm very interested in the Crimson Contract because you keep mentioning it.
Yeah, it's just I feel awkward talking about it because it's going on hiatus though. But it was just like a. Oh, sorry, what?
There's a lot of views. 700,000 views.
On Crimson Contract?
Crimson Contract.
Oh my gosh, I haven't checked it in such a long time. We're at 700,000 views.
Yeah, 700,000 views.
Oh my god, I didn't know.
9.66 in rating.
Yeah.
Would you really like to put this on hiatus? I think that would be a waste.
Yeah, we can't do two at I mean, like, yeah, we can't handle doing two at the same time. Like, I don't think I could handle writing Crimson Contract, and Midoryka definitely can't handle drawing both at the same time. Yeah, because it's a more complex drama. It's a more complex genre. It's post-apocalyptic and supernatural, sprinkled with rom-com in there. So it takes me a bit of time to do scripts for it. If it was just a simple rom-com, I could maybe write it at the same time. But yeah, it's basically like a girl in like a vampire zombie infected world, trying to save a vampire baby that she found, or a vampire little boy that she found. That's basically the overall plot.
Me, the hiatus wouldn't stop me from reading this, because I will be reading this right now. I'm looking at it right now. The art is so good, no? Midoryka is great.
She is.
I love her art.
Talented. And we're number one fan. And I'll fight anyone who says they're her number one fan. I'm her number one fan. No, I'm just kidding.
Have other writings, like not in the form of a webtoon. Maybe you have some
in
novels.
No, I don't write novels and stuff.
Oh.
I know like most people do start that way. I think Rohan did, right? He started with novels and then kind of transitioned to webcomics. I didn't. I used to write like fan fiction, like way back when I was like a teenager. But those are all like gone and dead. I buried them. But I mean, I also don't know where they're at anyway.
The
No.
writer series is also someone who started out from fiction and then jumped into journalism, and then when in school she dived into journalism, and then after that she was encouraged to create something for webtoon. And right now she started the series. You will find that in on the other channels here, because we also want people to share their work in the server, so we
Wait,
can.
who are you talking about?
The Madame She Daphne. Can you?
Oh.
Can you see her?
Daphne.
Can you see her work? So yeah, Strawberry is her partner. She's here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Strawberry is the partner artist of Madame She Daphne.
Oh,
And-
okay.
Yeah. So another writer I wasn't able to mention is Yugen. So Yugen is not here right now because she's busy with the work. But her partner is Z Dino. She's the artist for Yugen.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So there's a lot of collaboration happening here, and
I know. What the heck? Wow.
we're just using each other.
using it.
We're using each other like so that we can create more money. No, we just want to be productive. Yeah, we just really
No,
want to
that's
be
great.
productive.
I think it makes a huge difference when it's a writer-artist duo.
I know. Oh yeah, it makes it like faster. The production is faster, and then there's a lot of head thinking about the story. Right? It's enjoyable at the same time.
Yeah, for those who like both write and draw your comics, I don't know how you do it. You guys are MVPs. It's amazing. What the heck?
I tried doing
think I
that.
would implode.
I tried doing that, and then I just stopped.
It's too much, yes.
It's too much. You will reach the point wherein you will get burnt out. it's just really tiring, and thinking about paneling, storyboarding, and character designing, and then the story at the same time. It's just too much.
Yep, that's so true. Everyone's like, I don't want to be a solo creator. Rohan said we only want tea in the server.
Yeah, of tea in the server. It's like, have you watched Voltus 5?
Voltus 5, no.
Yeah, the anime Voltus 5. So there's something like that, like there's this union. So people here gathered around tea. So everyone will be present when you have tea. Like if
Wow.
If your neighbor's dog got hit by a car, right? That kind of tea. No,
Not even webtoon tea. It's just like my neighbor did this. That's so funny.
we actually enjoy talking in the different topics here. It's not just webtoon. That's why the community is starting to grow, because we started out with a lot of teas. No, friendship is being formed while we are talking to each other, while we're burning each other. So the community is growing right now, and you're already part of the community.
Yeah, I know. I need to spill more tea, apparently.
Yeah. Sooner or later, you're going to be part of the tea party. We call it tea party.
Fun.
Yeah. We're even planning on hosting a Christmas party, like face-to-face Christmas party.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's such a shame that you're not here.
I know. I'm so sad.
We would love to have you there. And
Aya is in California too, right? Me and Aya will have our own party.
Z Dino said visit Pinas in 2 months.
I'm gonna be. Yeah, I know, right? I wish I could. I love Philippines during the Christmas time. Ugh, the lights and everything. You guys don't do it like anybody else.
We're very dramatic when it comes to Christmas. Aya will be there in the Christmas party. You can also join. Like it no, not face to face, but on video call.
Yeah.
Live stream.
You have to live stream it. Like,
We will, and everyone who won't be able to attend would be able to see how much we enjoy each other's party or company,
or how much you drink.
or how much we drink. Well, we will be having minors there, so we have to wait until they're gone, so that we can have that drink. The tea.
There's minors here? Making webtoons this young. Good for you guys. Starting young. Wish I could.
Starting young. Me too. We should started young.
People regrets right now. Like, dang it, we should
If only.
younger.
It's very enjoyable, no? The webcomic industry, creating with other people and enjoying just the company of other people with the same creative mind. It's really fun. What would you give us an advice for aspiring artists or writers out there? What advice would you give for them to encourage them into continuing the art of webcomic or writing?
Okay, so I'll have because I know the most people will say their advice is just create, because that's the most, and I agree with that advice. But I'm gonna give some practical advice, okay, for webtoon creators out there. Study paneling. Go reread all your favorite webtoons and see how they panel a scene, because paneling is gonna save your life. It's like writing and art, that's really, really important in a webtoon, obviously. But if you can panel a scene and if you can like save time, like honestly, zoom in shot. Like of like, you have those really complex panels. You can really utilize those complex panels by zooming in on them in later scenes. I don't know if I'm making sense, but or like if two characters are talking in a cafe, utilize like simple panels, like a close-up shot of the coffee. Study paneling in a scene, or how two characters talk, what they choose to panel with. Not everything can be like one person talking in panel 1, person 2 talking in panel 2. Learn how to panel and be dynamic with it. That's the best practical advice, because I read a lot of webtoons, and that's the number one, I think, error that I see when people create webtoons specifically, is they don't know how to panel or utilize paneling in a way that helps their story. That's a practical advice.
It's a great advice, actually. I think that some of the webcomics that I've read that grew viewers, they were able to improve those panelings that you're talking about, the dynamic panelings that they have grew in number, and it became much more exciting than the first time they produced that out there. And it's great. It's a great advice. It's very practical, and it's something that everyone should learn. Like, I think for me, it would be something like, think in a way that you're holding the camera. Like, where would you want to see?
Yeah.
Like, what kind of view do you want to see in this kind of scene that you're writing about?
That's very true. I think studying like film directing a little bit.
Directing, perspective and color, like the mood, setting the mood. Like, for example, if it's a sexy mood or calm environment, you have to set it right so that you would be able to deliver the right scene. Like, if it's scary, then something dreadful should be the feeling that you would be having in that kind of panels.
Yeah, setting tone, also very important.
That's a great advice. Thank you for that. So, Rob said, aside from writing, are you also involved with the other steps of creating a webtoon? like the art or direction, lettering, editing?
No, in terms of like actually working in Clip Studio Paint and like physically doing anything with the comic, no. But the workflow that I've had with Midoryka and some of the other artists is I write full out scripts with a lot of references. Like I use picture references, especially for faces, because it's hard to explain what a facial expression is. So I write a script panel by panel. I don't just write like words. Like I actually write panel 1, this is what should be happening. Panel 2, panel 3. So I actually write out a script with panels, and then Midoryka does like a storyboard, and then she asks for she asks if I have any changes, but I always say no because she's so good. So like I can't improve perfection, Mido. Sorry, I don't know what to tell you. She always asks like, do you have anything to change? And I feel bad because I'm literally like, no, every time.
Everything is great.
Yeah, I'm like, everything's perfect. And then she moves on to like the writing or like doing the final stages, like coloring, shading, and then lettering, and then she usually asks again, like, here it is, do you have any changes? And I'm always again like, no. But yeah, that's the most I have with production.
It's a great working environment.
Yeah,
it's a working cycle that you have there, a harmony that you have.
Yeah.
Some of the people here on our chat is saying that scripting, storyboarding is something that they take time to develop. Do you have problems with that when it comes to you creating panels and stuff, scenes, you know?
Sometimes I do. So like with paneling, like I was talking about, be dynamic with your paneling. Sometimes I'm like, shoot, I don't know. Like I can't think of something that's dynamic right now. So I kind of just write. Sometimes I'm like, Mido, think of something. And like she always does, but sometimes visualing or like trying to envision something in a webtoon is kind of hard. Like for example, in a scene, a webtoon character has like a cup and they're putting it down. How do you visualize that in a dynamic way? Sometimes I just can't think of anything. And so I just write person puts cup down and then like panels 1 to 5.
I leave it to you, artist.
yeah, exactly. I'm like, I leave it to you. I do that with Midoryka because she's really skilled, though. She knows how to do it. If I was working with a more like inexperienced artist, I would try to actually write it out, but
Midoryka is chef's kiss.
Yeah.
I hope we can have a time wherein we can talk with her too. No.
You mean you can ask questions and I can give it to her and I can read it out for her, but I don't think she'll want to come on the podcast. She's pretty shy. Pretty busy too, I think.
Yeah, I don't think she would be able to have time to chat with us like this and just talk about each other. Anyway, other people, do you still have questions, guys? Do you have anything you want to ask Coconut? Well, about work, about how to develop stories.
I saw Z say, yeah, those kind of writers, right? I leave the rest to you artists. Yeah.
Some of the time, yeah. Sometimes
I do that. I'm sorry.
We just really need to, have input from the artist too. So Rohan has another question. Give us an overview on your process when plotting a story.
Ooh, from like development or like like an individual script?
Yeah, from development, he said.
Oh, from development?
Mm-hmm.
So when I start with a story, I try to do like, what's the most relatable thing? Because you need to have a relatable character first, otherwise like readers aren't going to imprint on your character. So that's usually what I start with, like what's relatable? And then I usually try to pull in like a genre that's popular. Like K-pop is popular. I did Magical Girl for Code Grace. Or like what else is popular? Right now fantasy is really popular. I was trying to write an isekai, but it didn't end up coming out. But yeah, so I usually go with a relatable character and a concept that is popular. That's what I start with as a basis when I create a story. And then usually, because I'm just a writer, I pull in an artist and say, hey, what are ideas you want to explore? What are characters you want to create? What is your... Yeah, like, you know, what do you want to create? And then I use their ideas, and from there, I build a story. I build a world, a story, usually with some of my ideas, some of the artist ideas.
And that's how works, no? Collaboration.
Yeah, it's fun. The producing, like, the first part of creating a webtoon is always the best part. It's so fun.
Talking to people and then thinking of, you know, because you're going to have an art block, in other words. And at one point of your writing, it's going to stop. So you really need some fresh mind, fresh eyes, or fresh ideas that could be given to you by other people. That's why two heads are better than one.
Yeah.
No matter how skilled you are. Anyways, are there any other questions? So they say that Ron is the one who is like that. A writer who says, you can do it. You think about the scene.
No way. I thought you read Ron.
I'll leave the scene to you. My characters are angry. I leave that to you. Guys, do you have any other questions? Like, do you have any technical questions for Coconut? Oh, Coconut, what do you use for a program when you're writing? Do you write write as in physically write, manually write your scripts before typing them?
No, I type. I don't write anything down with my hand. I think I would look like a crazy person if I wrote it down with like my hands. Like, I think a doctor would see like my writings and they'd be like, this person belongs in an asylum, and then lock me out. Oh, I don't write anything down. It would be too crazy. I just type out. I type. I usually like. I usually just type like when I write. I usually just type I just go, and then from there I organize it into panels, and then I cut scenes out, add scenes in, take out dialogue, stuff like that. That's how I usually just write.
Because for me, like, it's kind of difficult for me if I started out writing, like, typing it out on the screen. Like, I need to sometimes write it down on paper.
Really?
And then I will be organizing it in a type form.
Wow, you are so good. That's so organized. I could not.
It's actually actually not something organized. It's just
but that it's so pre-planning though.
It's just that I kind of am able to organize my thoughts, because I know you can. Everyone else can relate to this. When you're creating an idea, it's like it's all over the place. Like,
yeah,
it's a pool, and then you're trying to see what comes first, what matters most, and all those stuff should be organized in your head. And for me, the way I do it is to write it down, because it's really difficult if I just direct it on typing. Sometimes I try to do that, but in the end, it's really not as organized as when I do it with using paper. I thought you were saying that it's about the handwriting skills, like the way I scribble. And then I also sketch. That's why.
Oh, see, that's good. I can't do that.
Well, Rohan can't as well.
What? I want to see a girl
I'm just
with
kidding.
Rohan now.
I saw his art. It's very like it's very like Vincent van Gogh without colors.
Really? That's pretty cool though.
Yeah, I'm obsessed with your obsessed with your great artistry. Anyways,
I can't even draw stick figures, so good on you, Rohan, honestly.
he can create clay figures. Another question from Rohan. How do you feel that you will be publishing in Webtoon Originals soon?
I am very both excited and nervous. There's a lot of pressure because I'm like, I don't know. So there's a lot of controversy going on in Webtoon right now, as I'm sure everybody knows.
Yeah.
A lot of the original creators are very angry right now with Webtoon.
Mm.
And Webtoon is sort of not making the best moves as far as I'm seeing. They're like, what's it called? They're releasing a bunch of Webtoons all at one time. Which is creating like an oversaturation, and which means readers are less likely to see your webtoon or even read your webtoon because there's just so many. You don't know what to choose. Back in the day, they used to release like one a month.
Yeah,
and it would be like this. And now,
that's true.
Yeah, and now it's like 5 a week, and so I've heard, or like just seeing patterns. I see that people are. Or I see that Webtoon is releasing less and less now. So it's not as oversaturated now because I think they're kind of learning from their mistakes. Like, oh, okay, if we release so many webcomics in a month, they don't do well in numbers wise. So I'm like a little nervous that maybe our Webtoon might be one of those. Like it might end up being released with a bunch of other Webtoons and then we'll kind of get buried. I'm a little afraid of that, so I'm kind of nervous. But I mean, regardless, I'm excited just because, like, I'm excited to get my story out there. I'm excited to see what originals readers think of our webtoon because Canvas readers and originals readers are very different. Canvas readers, because Canvas is such a huge pool of webtoons, they're pretty much more open about stories. They're more willing to try anything and read anything because they're on Canvas. There's a lot of webtoons to read. And originals, they're way more picky, I'm assuming. But they're also a lot more diehard.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of excited to see, like more diehard fans or like even critiques. I'm very curious to see what people will critique. And hopefully try to improve my webtoon based on those critiques. So I'm excited and I'm nervous
Sure, this
at the same time.
will do great because, as I said, it's very new. Like the concept of it is very new. Even the short description of it, like, very exciting. Like, how would you incorporate programming into Sailor Moon kind of theme, magical girl? It's really cool. That's why I said
That's what I'm
like
hoping.
you were able to make the concept effective and modern as well because you're able to relate to adults, not just kids. You're actually relating it to adults. Pretty cool. And it's relatable. The character is also relatable because a lot of people here are, some of us here experience childhood traumas and yada yada yada, and it saves them. Like webcomic and stuff saves them. So yeah. Z, are you going to stop the live? Not sure.
She left for a little bit. She said behave kayo sa podcast. So we can take it over now.
Yeah, so it's time to burn each other.
You're wrong.
So guys, you can actually join us. You can turn on your mic if you want to chat with Coconut directly.
Yeah. I want to talk to people. I don't think anyone wants to talk to me though.
No, they're very enjoyable to talk to. And Ron has a trashy mic, like his personality. So
He sounded
Whatever.
Oh, hi, Ron.
Ron, we can hear you.
I know.
Yeah. Chop.
Yeah.
Trashy,
Okay, anyway.
Strobe. Come on.
Yeah. Hi, Coconut. Nice meeting you. Nice talking to you in live. I think this is our first time talking live, right?
It is our first time talking live.
Yeah, and I've been listening all throughout this podcast, and congratulations again for winning the third place. I know. It's like I don't know. I'm still on the cloud right now, thinking about the future. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to your webtoon. So, good luck, and let's support each other and let's do our best.
Yes, I'm like super attached to you, Rohan, just because like I don't have anyone else to relate to in terms of like the CTA stuff. So I'm always like just hearing that Rohan experienced the same thing to me. I'm like, oh, this dude understands. It's such a weird feeling.
Are you
Yeah.
guys
Sorry?
talking about the weight of the work? Like
What?
how heavy the work would be for the coming
In ter-
chapters in terms of workload. Like, are you
Oh,
nervous about making 50 panels per chapter?
honestly, yeah, I'm pretty nervous. I mean, for me, it's just writing. But like that's why we like brought out an application for assistance because I'm like, obviously we're gonna need help. And so, as much as I want to make sure that Mito has as much help as she can get, that's the most important part. Like, so that she's not dying 50 panels a week, you know.
She'll probably cry over it. It's really, and even though it's not that detailed as she said when it comes to line art, man, I can't imagine one person doing that like one panel, and then
Yeah.
you need to produce that in 1 week.
Yeah, it's crazy.
No, that's suicide.
I know. It's really hard. That's why partnerships are good, people. Everyone partner.
Everyone collaborate with everyone. So
But I have a question for people
Yeah.
who applied.
Mhm.
I'm genuinely curious. So like, I'm people applied. Obviously, I'm assuming for money because like yeah, it's a paid position. But I'm like curious. Are you guys applying also to try to like get into the original space a little bit or no? This is for the chat. I want to see what people say.
I mean, I did apply for you too.
Oh yeah.
I want to consider myself to be, trying to dip myself into the world of webtoon because I also want to learn about paneling, and I will see that paneling when it comes to doing the line art, right? Because
Yeah.
if ever I would be chosen, I would be seeing the whole story, and then I would see how she would be executing the paneling. And I think that's something like a learning stage for me.
Learning experience. Oh, okay. That's really interesting to me because I 300 applications and I'm like, I wonder. I know obviously number one motivation is money, but for specifically the webtoon creators, I'm like, why are you guys doing this? I'm curious. Are you
That
guys
is the money,
wanting
of
to try to
course.
get webtoon? Money only. But yeah, I never even thought about like learning. Yeah, I guess you would learn on the job.
I mean, for me, this is my first time actually touching a webcomic because I do commission-based work, and then
oh, really?
going to webcomic is something new to me. Like right now, I'm collaborating with other artists too, so
Yeah.
that we will be able to create something. And then along the way, I am learning how to different kinds of sections of creating, like for writing, paneling, scripting. I learned those things. I'm trying to learn those things as I go about.
Wow, that's good for you guys. Like the artist side of webtoon creating, I'm always so interested in it because it's so interesting to me as the writer, or like how you guys think, or like what your guys' daily lives are like. So interesting.
So some of the people answered your question. So
Yeah.
Z Dino is really money motivated by money.
Money and fame. What's your friend?
Her god is money. Like, yeah. Dab dab. Yeah, everyone loves money, I know. Money brings happiness, you guys. So Dab Dab says she wanna know the feelings of producing an original, being part of that. Oh
Yeah.
So Z Dino is kind of says that she don't know. It's kind of like the mentality here is to join and apply to as many work or comics as much as possible. I think that's for you only. She has a lot of snakes to feed.
Yeah, snakes?
Yeah, she has snakes.
Oh, okay. I was looking at some of the photos and I saw snakes on your guys' like in one of your channels, and I was like, what is this? I was like, someone has snakes? That's cool.
Snakes, fish, shrimp, I think. I don't know.
That's cool. I wanted to try to get into fish keeping. Fish and shrimp keeping, but it's hard. All of my shrimp died. And I was like, I'm not cut out for this.
I just won't try it because I will just kill them. So I just won't. And Rohan says, very sarcastically, he says that I'm doing this because I'm really passionate about art and I've always been dreaming of getting this job position ever since I was a child. This is like applying for a job. Like,
I appreciate everyone trying to interview right now.
Dub says it's an answer for Miss Universe.
Wow, you guys are great. Oh, yeah, you said Rohan. I think it was Yin Yang who said that.
She wanna coattail ride you guys. Just like we're out collaborating. I know, right? That's the same for me. Yeah, like honest review, honest things. If you wanna say it to be honest, you just also wanna expand your networks, right?
Yeah, your network. Yeah,
your network, and then you're going to achieve that collaboration and talking to people more and enjoying the process, I think.
Yeah, and that's great. But that's cool that you guys are also motivated.
Financially motivated.
I mean, if you're really financially, I don't know if I should say this, but if you're really financially motivated, the only way to do it, not the only way, I shouldn't say that, but the fastest way is NSFW stuff. That's the fastest way to make money.
Yeah, I know. There's another server that has a lot of Filipinos in there, and some of those artists are openly NSFW artists, and they share their live streams to the members of the server.
Wow.
Yeah, and you can see that they also say that like there's a lot of money in NSFW because there's a lot of, I don't know, frustrated people in the world.
Yeah, I know. And it's kind of crazy how much it sells. It's insane.
There's a lot.
NSFW instant money. So I mean, if you want money, that's how you get it.
It's a big market out there, I know, and knowing that is, you're gonna get rich from that. Well, Russell says, yeah.
No, sorry. YMM or Y? I don't know how to pronounce that. YMA said I'm 12.
Ima, she's called. She's not 12. She's dreaming to be 12. She wants to be 12. She can't. So Russi says that she's into it for money, and my intention is to get into the production, to have experience as well. No matter how tiring it is, I want to feel that tiredness but still enjoy the work. Oh, I love that.
Wow.
Very motivational, Russi.
How articulate.
Russi is called Idol Russi, just so you know.
Idol Russi? Why?
Yeah. We're going to talk about it later. So Rohan applied for line artist, and I think that's where your comic will fail. For applying for a line artist.
Okay, Rohan, I'll hire you as a consultant or a fellow artist, or fellow writer.
It's my pleasure. So English. So, Ron says he didn't apply, but I think that you really don't need to apply for that positions. You're going to be the death of that comic. Just kidding. Oh yeah, a lot of 12-year-old are webtoon readers. Z Dino says.
Yeah, there's a lot of young people. It's just like hard to make money off of, obviously, because they don't have money.
I know. We have to look for other platforms that allow those kinds of things. So I have favorite platforms for that, but that's, you know. we really don't want to share it on the live. People, do you want to join? Like, do you want to join open mic so you can
Yeah,
ask
come
Coconut?
talk. I think everybody hates me. It's okay.
No, they're just very shy at first, but you know.
Don't be shy. I love talking to people. Webtoon is my life, people. I love talking to web. I feel I'm like a crazy person. If someone mentions Webtoon to me, I'm like, oh, you're my instant friend. I'm gonna talk to you.
Guys and girls, this is the first time we have an extrovert as a guest. We always have a lot of artists here that are really shy in talking. And
yeah, just speak in Tagalog. They're saying like right now, talk to me in Tagalog. Yeah, if you're shy about your English, just talk in Tagalog. Ren can translate, right? I'll probably understand it.
Pressure.
Just again.
Just kidding. I think Coconut can understand some Tagalogs. So I think you don't really have to force yourself.
Look at me and Ren trying to get people to unmic and everyone's
everyone's just typing and you know. We're trying to keep the conversation alive here. Help us. Oh yeah. Rosie's out of the house so she can't open her mic. So we're about to end the podcast. If no one else is really wanna ask any technical questions anymore. But before that, let's see. Before that, I want to ask you some superficial questions that maybe, you know, maybe you could share some very dramatic things in this useless. So this is my last question, and I often ask this with a lot of the guests that comes here. What is the most memorable challenge that you face in your life? Actually, there are a lot of I will be asking multiple questions. This is not the last, but what is the most memorable challenge you face by pursuing what you're doing right now?
Oh, okay, specifically pursuing Webtoon, the most memorable challenge. Ooh, okay, well, I mean, obviously call to action was a pretty memorable challenge, to be honest, but I think before that, it was just trying to find a steady artist to work with me, like, consistently, and who wouldn't, like, leave my projects for their own. And again, I totally understand it, because, you know, your work is your work. Like, I understand if they wanted to go work on their own stuff, that's okay. But yeah, that was a challenge, though, finding an artist. That was probably the most memorable. And then the second one is I had a webcomic before. My very first webcomic was called Coconut Diaries. That's where my name Coconut comes from. It was like a slice of life, and I wanted to make it like a Filipino American slice of life comic, and I just stopped writing it. I just couldn't write it anymore, and I don't know. It is still on Webtoon. Coconut Diaries is still on Webtoon.
Seeing it right now. There's a lot of views and likes in there.
Yeah,
100,000 views.
Yeah, wow. It got 7,000 subs and it got views, and I probably could have finished it. I mean, not finished it. I could have kept going with it. Cause like, you know, it was bad. Like, I was starting to get views and starting to get subs right when I was like losing my passion for it, and that was probably the most memorable challenge. And I think at the time it was like pandemic stuff was happening, and my mental health was like not that great, and it was like I realized like I had a lot of trauma from when I was a kid, and I couldn't write any more happy stories from my childhood. It was all just trauma. So I was like, I can't do this lighthearted slice of life comic anymore. And that was probably a big challenge. One of the biggest challenges I remember. I was like, I can't continue this slice of life comic anymore.
But do you have plans of continuing that? In the future?
I don't know. I really wanted to. I told my fiance about it because he really likes Coconut Diaries, because it's he just thinks it's very cute, and he knew it was like my dream to try to like share like Filipino American stories, but I told him I don't think I could do it. Not with childhood stories. I don't think there's too much stuff in there that I don't want to touch anymore. Like in terms of like stuff with my parents.
Yeah, I
Stuff
can relate
about
to that.
growing up. Yeah, stuff about growing up like Filipino American. But so I told him I would maybe revisit it. And maybe tell stories like just me and my fiance, or me and my brother, or me and my dog. Maybe I'll revisit stories like that later on in life, but right now I don't really want to.
Yeah, but it's really relatable, you know, because I think it's loosely based on your life or your childhood life.
Yeah, a lot of those stories are true, like directly happened to me, stuff like that. Yeah.
Even to the stories that we create right now, we do relate it to some of the bad memories from the past.
Yeah.
It becomes very entertaining, I think, when you incorporate it to fantasies and stuff, and then you're creating new memories as you go along the way.
Yeah, I think maybe later on I can try to revisit Coconut Diaries and do it as like a healing thing, maybe to try to heal from some stuff.
I encourage you to do that. I will support you. I will support you on that. I do. I love supporting people when it comes to their healing process, because a lot of people are, especially in the Filipino community, when it comes to their childhood, there are a lot of unspoken things that happen in childhood traumas that are just, you know, right now is something that being faced as an adult, and it's really hard to get over them. And you know, when you get to the phase of the healing process, it's when you know that you're doing great, you're on the right. And I will support you if you're going to continue working on that. I will definitely advertise it with my limited scope.
Thank you. You guys are so nice.
I'm so nice. Just kidding.
Yeah, Ren, you are very nice.
Thank you, Coconut. I am great. I'm happy that someone considers that. Acknowledges that. A lot of people here are just, barfing when I say that. That's why I have Angel in Angel in my name. Yeah, especially Ron. Ron likes me a lot, So let's see. Let's make it light. So if you have a superpower, what would it be, and why?
Oh, my superpower, honestly, is to draw. I wish I could draw. That's a superpower to me because I can't do it, and I really want to. Because I wish I could also draw my own webtoons, but the time and the skill, I do not have it.
I think what I would want is to have enough time to stop time.
Enough time? That's true. Stop time.
Especially if the deadline is coming.
That is true. That's a good one.
Yeah. So, okay. The last thing would be is for our live, because we're going to talk much more when we shut off the live, because a lot of the things that we can talk about would be talked about when tea time comes. Okay.
Tea time.
And tea time comes after live. So what would be your advice to aspiring artists like you, besides the practical one that you gave earlier?
Okay. I would say, so non-practical advice, I think it's a little practical, but if you're wanting to create webtoon, if you're really wanting to create, I think what would be really beneficial to a lot of creators is ask yourself why you're creating. Because if you're doing it for fame, if you're doing it for money, if you're doing it for yourself, that's all okay. Mm-hmm. But make sure you understand why you're creating. Because I see a lot of people say, "Oh, I'm creating because it's fun," but then they get disappointed when their webtoon isn't popular or making money. And it's like, well, was that your true intention then? You're like, be honest with yourself. Why are you making webtoon?
Yeah.
If you're making it to be popular, then go for popular. If you're making it for money, go for money. If you're making it to have fun, then have fun. Have realistic expectations. And make sure to do mental health checks with yourselves,
Yeah. So people here are very honest with themselves. Like, we we love money. We love money and we want to be popular. Who doesn't,
Yeah.
right? You're making things so that people could read it. And then when people read it, you create money. And then you can have fun.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Yeah, that's
Sometimes,
right.
yeah, the answer is more complex. Yeah, it involves all three. You're right.
Anyways, Coconut, it's my pleasure to talk to you. It's very fun talking to you. It's the first time I've talked to someone extroverted and just kidding. It's the first time I talked to someone that is very open with herself and honest with herself. Well, all of us are honest with ourselves, but when you're talking live, it makes you nervous when you know that you're live on YouTube, right? Because this is actually just I think it's the fourth episode that we have.
Wow.
Yeah, so this is the fourth episode that we have, and it makes people nervous when talking live on YouTube, and sometimes the mischievousness that you get from those people kind of dims down when it's live, because you really can't talk about other things when it's live. And you want to talk about it, you just need to do it privately. Anyways, Coconut, thank you very much. And if you have any you want to promote your work? This is your time to promote your work.
Yeah, well, Code Grace is not going to release for a couple months, but I guess I'll put it out there. Otherwise, I'd just like to say thank you guys for hosting me. Thank you, Ren, for being a great host and working with me with English. I'm sorry you had to speak English for me. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry I'm failing you sometimes.
No, you're really not, though. You're really not. You guys are all great. You're good with English, trust me. But thank you guys so much for hosting. Thank you for being so open. Thank you, Rohan, for spamming me with questions and making me feel like someone cares. Thank you, Rohan. You're my buddy.
Engagement here, but they're just. I think they're just starstruck. Yeah, they're starstruck from you.
Don't be starstruck. I'm nobody, guys. Trust me. I'm just a writer.
Dub says, kami lang to, Coconut. Exactly. This is just us. I think in this server we encourage just talking casually to each other, and there are a lot of stars here. One of the most influential. There are a lot of influencers here, but you won't know it until you see their profiles and such, because they talk casually. And yeah, okay, guys. I encourage you to read Code Grace, the first chapter. So, read it when the time comes that they release the succeeding chapters in the future. And I hope you can get to access other works that they have, not just Code Grace, but others as well. And do you have any profiles that you want to share, Coconut?
Just my webtoon, webtoon, my webtoon profile, my Instagram, coconut_comics at Instagram and Twitter, but I'm such an old person, I don't know how to use Twitter very well.
Same.
I've accidentally retweeted so many things on accident. But yeah, either that and then just follow me at webtoon too.
Okay. Have a great day, everyone. Thank you for joining us again with this podcast. Sorry if I talk a lot about myself or talk about a lot on the server.
That's great.
And I really love talking to you, Coconut. I hope this will not be the last time that you would be guesting, because we will be having recurring guests here as well. Sometimes partners, sometimes alone. But we encourage just talking to each other like this. And maybe in the future I would have a co-host, because right now I didn't have a co-host. But I did have a co-host, but I think he's busy right now. And thank you very much, Coconut. Kakantahan kita. Goodbye, everyone, and thank you for joining us today.
Bye.